I gave that small little definition to you yesterday. And I hope it makes sense to all of you. It's just, we have not even scratched the bottom of the iceberg, and we are yet to delve into more details, which we will. The plus side is that this is a 3 credit subject, so we have more classes, more sessions. Not that there is any paucity of sessions, I can take them whenever I will fit. But then, yes, we will have 24 sessions in which this entire subject has to be justified. And thereby, we will take it as time comes, and if need be, we will perhaps go into greater details. So, we have understood this. I told you that it is a strategy for acquiring, utilizing, improving, and retaining HR. All of these, you can see, acquisition, improvement is something which everyone knows. Utilization and retention is part of a component of HR that is known as employee engagement. Employee engagement, usually you will find, is a terse matter. It's a difficult obligation that you have to put. Because if an employee might be involved, but yet not be motivated. An employee can be motivated and yet be disjointed. Why? Because the connect is not there. Okay. You will have to look into all these domains, all these human psyche, in order to make sure that whenever the employee joins your organization, you do not look upon them as people who are going to match the KRAs that we have sold out. That is the typical mindset of any HR individual. When you go into your relationship, if your relationship becomes more transactional and transformational, then you will go from organic to mechanical. And the moment you go from organic to mechanical, then, as I said, you will only attach a position or a designation to a person's head. And what happens is, then there is this danger of stereotyping people. When you start stereotyping people, alright, then you start calling them by their domain name. You've been in organizations, the tenacity of people to say, "Arey admin wale ka aise, admin wale." What do you mean admin wale? What you've done is you've taken the entire people who are working in the administrative department and you just put them into one basket. Regardless, you do not know. So, you as HR people, you need to be very, very aware and steer absolutely clear from such judgmental attitudes. Don't do it. Okay. Don't just say that, okay, you are in this department, so we know this department never performs. That alone is. Right? Because now, lateral hiring is happening in a lot of organizations. And they sometimes might put you in a different department just to see whether you can make it work or not. Because if I'm looking at you as the next successor. This is also a component of succession planning. You are the next VP operations. Great. I'll put you in the marketing department. Now you will be absolutely flummoxed. You will be bamboozled. You will be like, what am I doing in the marketing department? Okay. But because the senior people and the would-be's have asked you to do it, you will walk in. You will go there and maybe in the initial phase, you will try to find your footing, you will try to find what am I supposed to be doing, all that. Not knowing that in the end, if we are going to put you at the helm of affairs, you need to know all the departments, you need to know all the various segments of that entire business. If you do not know the marketing, you will not know how your product is doing in the market. If you do not know sales, you do not know the price value of your product in the market. If you do not know production, you do not know how much is the cost that is incurred while creating the product. And similar instances. Alright. So when we talk about utilization and retention, this is where the entire HR domain comes into force. Right? People, as I said, they will stereotype you. HR means, recruitment, induction, and development, and maybe behavioral components. But when we talk about utilization and retention, then you will have to look into all these components, and they are part of the human resource plan. Why? Because you need to be able to retain your talent. You take a good person on board, you send that individual for training. After 6 months of training, he or she comes back. Maybe they sign a bond that they will work for the organization for 2 years, but in 2 years that person gets poached. What can you do? The person gets poached. There are some areas in which organizations have tried to ensure that people do not leave, but then they do not work. One of them is that if you leave before the stipulated time, if you are a permanent employee, you have to give that 6 months period, notice period, and then only you can leave. So that in 6 months we can at least find out a suitable option or a substitute or a replacement in your position, and then hand holding, and then you can leave. So 6 months is a good enough tenure. But if you are not there for the 6 months waiting period, then in that case you are supposed to pay a very, very steep fine. Right? And those charges, a lot of times, if the other organization is wanting you bad enough, right? They are called severance packages. Where when you sever your ties, then you have to pay that organization. That if I'm not, staying here for the next 6 months, I'm going in 1 month. I'm giving you just 1 month's notice period. So you have to cough up at least maybe 80,000 rupees, or the higher the position, the higher the severance package. And you have to, for putting your company in a difficult position, whatever is the case, maybe you have to pay 3 lakh rupees. They make it so difficult that you do not breach that modality. You don't breach that contractual obligation. You don't even go down that path. Now, for instance, you got a good offer from another organization, and you are on your way out. They are pressurizing you. That you need to come ASAP. We want you here as of yesterday. What do? You will tell them, I can't, this bond is there, that if I break it, this is the amount of severance that I have to pay. They will ask you, how much is it? You say 3 lakhs. If they want you bad enough, they will come. We will pay it for you. So now even deterrence as far as economical feasibility and viability are concerned, they are also not helpful. Because if your value is greatly enhanced, then in that case, someone else will take you. And in some case, for this very purpose, you need to have retention policies. Then you need to sit down with the person and say, all right, why are you wanting to leave? What is the reason? What is it that you want? Do you want a raise? Do you want a hike? What is it? That is why you have exit interviews. In exit interviews, people come across, and it's pretty candid because they're on the way out, so there are no inhibitions. They don't need to be scared of you, because that relationship is now over. You are on the way out. So you give it to them. Alright? And you will never sugarcoat it. You give it to them as it is. And yes, sometimes there are big surprises. And the organization, if it looks upon you as a big asset, then they will definitely try to retain you. The reason I'm spending so much of time on this component here is because when we look at the nomenclature of human resource planning, there are certain preconceived notions that flash across our mind. That human resource planning means you need to plan for the human resource, how to make them come in. It is usually, consisting of two components: forecasting demand and forecasting supply. That is nothing more. That is where the entire focus is. We lose out on this. Recruiting, acquiring, or talent acquisition is just the periphery. The moment the person walks in, then your ordeal starts. Maybe a referral check was not done appropriately. It was incomplete. All of a sudden, after 2 years, you find out that maybe the mark sheet given to you is all fudged. It is not true. Now what do? You are receiving it. Maybe the salary slip that has been given to you is not correct. Right? There are a zillion components. When they come together, then they make a human resource planning effective and productive, not efficient. So that is why I'm saying acquiring people, I'm not saying it's easy. Please don't misunderstand me. Acquiring people is also difficult. But then, when they come into your organization, then you need to be able to, chart a future roadmap for those people to be able to perform. And you need to have individuals who do not have a history of leaving or jumping ship too often. And that goes for you also. People keep it in their mind, okay, I'm joining this organization. Now before you even step foot inside, you are feeding yourself this thought, I'm here for only 2 years. Or I'm here for just 3 years. And after that, I'm looking for the bigger, better deal that comes my way, and I'll walk. If that is in your mind, you will never be able to perform to the best of your capabilities. Then it is only a formality that you do, and it will show in your body language, in your work. So, and if you are leaving organizations too often, then you're not creating a good footprint for your own self. Because if I recruit you and I see that you've changed, maybe in 6 years you've changed 3 organizations. On an average, I see you as being in my organization for just 2 years. Maybe even less than 2 years. What is the guarantee that you will stay more than that? I need a person who is going to stay here for a long period of time. So I will slowly keep your CV, I will not look upon it in a favorable way. So this is also something that you need to learn. Also, you worked in an organization for 3 years. You are 3 years senior. You almost up for a promotion. But if you leave that organization and go to another organization, those 3 years will not be taken into consideration. Over there, you're starting from scratch. So if you're starting from scratch, your experience in that organization is 0. So you need to work another 3 years to get that same promotion. Had you stuck with the previous organization, you would have been promoted. So that loss is yours. So you need to weigh the pros and cons. If it is so difficult that you're not being able to breathe, and there are some serious issues, then and no one can help it. And perhaps we need to change the organization. We have our own concerns. Right? So, on that note, let me show you the next in line are the objectives of human resource planning. We have studied what human resource planning is, one of the greatest components of human resource planning. And when we talk about objectives, it will bring more clarity as to why you are sitting in this class and trying to understand human resource planning. Number one, you need to integrate planning and control of manpower with organizational planning. Right? So, to get the best possible utilization of all resources. We talked about utilization just so then you need to coordinate the manpower policies of the organization and achieve efficiency over in all the spheres of the corporate work. If my organizational goals and my departmental goals are not at par, then in that case we'll be working at loggerheads. If my organizational goals and my departmental goals are in sync, then we will achieve not only the departmental goals, but the achievement of those departmental goals will help in the achievement of the organizational goals. So this sync or fine-tuning has to be there, very, very important. The other day, Bomsar was speaking about outcome-based education. OBE. There is a reason that now this is OBE is something which is old wine in a lot of organizations abroad, not in India. Right? Where your course outcomes are mapped to your departmental outcomes or program outcomes. Okay? And then those program outcomes are mapped to the vision. And that is the reason you see these two are here. Those vision and mission are also having a parallel when they are achieved by acquiring your program educational objectives, your PEOs. So this is a stark and a very clear example that if your departmental objectives are mapped with the organizational objectives, then you will not be working at cross purposes, you will be working in sync, in harmony. Right? And that is part of human resource planning. Now you ask why? The reason is that when we are creating job profiles, we need to understand clearly that we are trying to achieve the organizational objectives by excellence in these certain areas where it will help the organization to grow further. We are not taking people, we are not taking talent on board that is just ankle deep. We are taking talent which has got experience, which has got the requisite skill set, the experience, alright, and the knowledge that is needed for them to be able to perform for the organization. Right? So when you create the job profile, you have to be very, very clear. In job profile, you will find a component known as job description. In the job description, you will find, we enter that domain very soon. So once you go there, then you will see that, okay, it is not as easy as taking a piece of paper and writing down. In one of my organizations, I remember my director HR, I had just joined. And he called me one fine day, he said, let's have coffee, very formal coffee. So it was not inside the organization. This is one of the things he used to do. Performance appraisal, not within his cabin. He said, this is my cabin. I am the king of the castle. You walk in, it is already speaking volumes about intimidation. Why? Because that is the cabin of the director HR. The nameplate is enough. So you know you're walking into a domain that is steeped in power, authority, responsibility. You will always try to please me, make me happy. But if you do it on neutral grounds, you go to a vada pav wala, you sit down over there, have vada pav, maybe you go to a chai wala, tea stall across the road, sit down. Okay. In my case, I went to Starbucks because I like coffee. Sat down across the table. Then he said, he put a sheet of paper across, he said, sip your coffee and write on this. On the top, he has written just 2 words. Expectations. Job profile. I said, what is this? He said, you create your own job profile. And I was like, I didn't know, because I said, aren't you supposed to be creating the job profile? Why are you asking me to create my job profile? He said, no. I like the way that you work, I like your experience, I like your attitude. So I'm going to do something, I'm going to help you. Right? I'm going to give you the job profile that you so want. And I said, okay, sat down and then I wrote expectations expectations from the outside in. That when I'm working with the organization, I am now writing down what I think the organization expects from me, according to me. Right? You're getting the.
Yes, sir.
Right? You need to understand this notion. It's a beautiful concept. And I am writing on a piece of paper that I think you want me to do this. This is the measure. This is the expectation level. And this is the job. Everything done, sorted, nothing. He just took it, folded it, kept it in his pocket. We had a sandwich and good coffee, and we discussed. 3 days later, he calls me. He says, "Do you remember we had gone for the coffee?" I said, "Yeah, you want to go again?" He said, we can do it. But then, let me tell you what it was. He took out the job profile that he had created, the organizational job profile of my position, and he took out the profile that I had created, and he put them side by side. He said, "Now you see." He was trying to see that if even 60% or 50% of the job profile that I created matched with the job profile of the organization, then I have the right mindset, and he will not have to do a tall task of explaining everything to me over and over. But if it is on a different tangent, then before I start working, he will have to counsel. He will say that, look, this is the profile that you wrote about yourself. These are the components that are a mismatch. On the other hand, there were 3 components of the job profile that I wrote, which he incorporated in the final profile. He said, I like this. This is a good idea. And others which were a mismatch, he showed it to me. Alright? And then the expectation level, he showed me the KRAs. He said, these are the KRAs. You've been very, very critical about your own self. Don't worry. So what happened was, immediately there was an air of understanding, dependability, and trust that was built. That this person can go to this extent, trying to create transparency in my work, then I can see a future for myself in this organization. This is just one of the ways that I'm taking it. So you as HR people, always remember this. There are policies, there are standard operating procedures, everything is there. But always try to find out ways, innovative ways, in which you can make your biggest clients, that are the employees, feel wanted. If you can break that wall, then they will feel more safe divulging details to you, telling you things, and you will be able to work in sync with the human resources, not at loggerheads, which is usually the thought process that runs across a lot of people's minds, that HR is simply here so that they can make our lives easier.
unfortunately.
That is the usual
Yeah.
connotation that people look at. So, you know what a pseudonym is? They crack up. You talk about you from HR, and you should see the smile they have on their face. So, that's what I'm saying. If you can do this, then you people will do a terrific job. Wherever you go. I'm just telling you a random example. But then there are many ways in which you can overcome this. Alright? Other than this, there is another objective of HRP, and that is cost minimization. Don't get blown away. Alright? Don't think you can just offer steep and princely salaries. Everything has to be looked upon in a very, very effective and efficient manner. Efficiency here also. You eliminate all types of wastages, and wastage of time, I think, is right there on the top. People write it on their Facebook account. Everyone has gone home. I'm still burning the midnight oil. The shift got over at 5. I'm here till 8:30. If you are there till 8:30, there is something definitely that you not do. What is warranting your presence at your workstation? 3 hours or 3.5 hours after your shift time is finished. Why are you doing it? What is the nefarious or personal purpose for which you are staying here? Year 2001. 2001, place, Gurgaon, not Gurugram, original Gurgaon.
Cyber City.
There are my organizations. Time, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
60% of the workforce is still at their stations and working on some pretext or the other. The month is first week of June. Temperature crossing 43.
It's pretty close to nothing.
Electricity is something which is not a luxury that you could afford in Gurgaon at that point of time. So we had massive generators that to run the essentially information. Found out reason of them staying back? Not overtime. They were not looking for overtime. They didn't want to go out in the hot environment. It's too hot.
Air condition.
Stay back. On some pretext or the other, stay back. And if you're staying at your workstation, that much of energy is being consumed, lights are on, the production cost is getting increased. You don't look upon it in that fashion. But then the people at the helm of affairs look upon it. Right? That generator is running for one full building. You are not vacating your system. Right? And you are on the net. What you did was entire day you kept on doing a crab walk, and at the end you started doing a walk. Then people were taken to task for this very reason. Alright. So when we are talking about wastage of time, this is exactly what it is. Alright, let's speak in the jargon that you will understand. Your people are from ER, IR. You know what is a go-slow strike?
Yeah.
Where you take everything, alright, and you divide it by at least 10.
Yeah.
So if I have to take one step from here to there, I take 3 minutes to take that step. So, and it becomes irritating. Why? You are completing all the requirements of the job. You report to the work on time, you punch in on time, you're at your station, working, but then everything is slow motion. So if I want something to be done, it cannot be done on the same day. It is frustrating. Because your entire production is working at 100% capacity. The lights are on, the production bed is on, everything is working. But I am taking my own sweet time. So in 1 hour we used to have 200 products, in 1 hour we are just having 50 products. So the production cost of those 50 products is very high. But we cannot change the production cost, because if we do that, then the market, all of a sudden people will stop buying it. They'll say, what happened? The same product was at a lower price in the previous week, and this week you are charging so much. What is wrong? So go slow strike is very, very detrimental and frustrating. And this is why I am trying to say this. When you talk about, if you can eliminate wastage of time, you will do great work. In a lot of organizations, I don't know about India, but global organizations, you do your work is finished, go home. Don't stay there. You have an 8-hour shift, you finish your work in 5 hours. Go home. There's no other work that needs to be done by you today. So the moment you leave, that part of the facility is now not being used. So you are saving. It might sound very small, but then it has a major impact. When it says required levels of skill, competency, matching present and future needs of the organization. So not only the present, but the future needs. Now in this scenario, no one was prepared for work from home during the COVID pandemic. So that is one need that was not foreseen by a lot of people, due to which a lot of organizations lost their footing. Globally, there were millions and trillions of revenue losses. So yes. So as I said, again I will reiterate, we are talking planning, we are talking forecasting. Forecasting is always precarious. You cannot predict the future. But then you take your past data, and then based on the past data, if you make your predictions, then those are predictions that can be validated. Right? When we will start forecasting, I'll tell you what it is. Okay? Let me show you a small diagram. Okay? It is a diagram about the human resource planning process. And there you will see 3 components which are very crucial. You have the external environment. I have taken everything into account. Then you got the internal environment. Internal is your organization. External is your market economy. Strategic planning. You need to take your HRP and map it to the strategic planning of the organization. 3 components. You forecast the requirements of HR and you forecast the availability. So this is the demand, that is the supply. You compare the requirements and availability. If the demand is equal to supply, you don't need to have any action. If there is a surplus of workers, this is the thorn in the side. Not that. That is easy. If there is a shortage means you recruit, complete. This is the part which makes for sleepless nights for a lot of HR. How do you lay off people? How do you downsize? You know, there is a very diplomatic word that is going around. That is called infrastructural maintenance. Infrastructural maintenance means that you are cutting away the layers, and when you cut away the layers, you are laying off people, and then those positions are being rendered defunct. Meaning, you just take them out of the system. They don't exist anymore. You don't need it. Alright? Hierarchy levels play a very significant role, where you will also look into that part, because when we talk about cost efficiency, cost minimization, you will look into this. In government organizations, you will find a lot of times that maybe you have a manager, under the manager, you've got 3 assistant managers. And you have 4 managers reporting to the general manager. And you've got 2 general managers reporting to the vice president. If you look at the cost factor of this, you can easily find out that in this entire hierarchy, we are talking about major cost implications by way of salaries, perks, benefits, you name it. But if what we did was we made each layer as need-based. So from here, this manager does not need 3 assistant managers. You remove. You've got 1 assistant manager. You are a manager. We are paying you to do what? To do all the work by your subordinates. No, you need to work. And then here, we remove these 2. As a GM, you need 2 managers, not more than that. And we remove him also. If you take a cost benefit analysis, you will see you've shaved off more than 55 to 60% of costs incurred by way of remuneration, salaries, benefits, perks, allowances. Right? God help you if you're working in a cosmopolitan city. Then you've got a city compensatory allowance. Right? I hope you all are aware of these. CCA. Yes? So, all this is by way of this. You are expecting a new business. You are tied up with a new business. Alright, those people are giving you a business of maybe $3.4 billion. So you're already sharpening the knife to reap the benefits. And because of that, you hired, because there was not shortage of workers, but it is a new collateral that has started off, and you need to hire workers for that business. You hired them. All of a sudden things went south, and the deal did not materialize. You can say, well, whatever you hired, we can give you a small package deal for the expenses that you incurred, and that is it. You hired maybe 100 employees,